Hey guys, Shadylikeatree here, and I know that I've already talked about The Last of Us quite a bit in a rather long video, but yesterday I got a text from an old friend, and we just wanted to share feelings about Last of Us and the game. So I have with me longtime friend and YouTuber Worm.
So many feelings, all the feelings.
All of them. And we're here today to just talk about The Last of Us and what we liked. I don't think there was a whole lot we didn't like, but there were a couple things I said that I thought were a little weird. And the feelings that we had and all the heartbreaking sadness and unbelievable oh my god moments. Um,
Yeah,
and
so when I first started playing the game,
yeah,
I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it because this is like I was just saying, this isn't one of those where I was like, oh yeah, the game came out, I'll go on YouTube and
uh-huh.
look up what people are saying about it. It was just like I bought it, came home, put it in, started playing. And because it was Naughty Dog, I was expecting like Uncharted, and you start off and it's completely weird. Like the controls take a
Mm-hmm.
little bit to get used to and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, after that, like the first scene where all of a sudden the screen goes black, I was like, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. I don't normally like zombie games as a whole.
Yeah.
If I were to check every game that's in the zombie genre, I could maybe pull out a handful that I've liked. And I'm struggling to come up with any right now, because I haven't yet even started Dead Rising 2. But and I talked about this in my other video that Last of Us is not really a whole zombie video game. It's partially a zombie video game,
Yeah,
but
and
it's
the
also an
cool
action adventure game at the same time.
thing about it is it's not zombies. It's like a legit thing.
Yeah,
It's like it could I mean potentially, probably never, but potentially it could happen. So it's like
yeah.
let's just add that terrifying fact on top of everything.
Yeah, how much of it do you know about? Because I was reading up on the supposed virus.
I I've heard of it, but I haven't like looked up anything
Okay.
since I've played the game or anything. But I'd heard of it beforehand, I think.
Well, apparently from my research, which was rather brief, it was like a quick "Is this thing real? Could this happen?"
Yeah.
type of Google search. Apparently there are like ants and other small insects that are susceptible to one plant that does this exact same thing to them.
Yeah.
And it's we're just several evolutionary stages away from it affecting humans, I suppose. So that kind of makes it scary for me.
Yeah, and I mean they're talking about cloning woolly mammoths, so anything can happen. You know,
Wouldn't that be awesome?
that'd be fucking sweet. I would go to the zoo to see one.
Dude, we would probably
I
get
want to
that here in
ride one.
Columbus, and you could drive up, and we could go to the zoo together.
I now want to ride it.
Oh yes, that would be
I will
sweet.
go to jail, and I will proudly go to jail for riding a woolly mammoth.
Oh, I can see you at the county jail now, just for
I
right.
would make so many friends.
Yeah, you would, you
Yeah.
would. But I'm in the same boat with you. I knew it was a Naughty Dog game going in, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it or not. Like, I'm like, well, I don't really like zombie games, but it's basically Uncharted but different, and I really like Uncharted.
I think that was my problem. I was like, oh, it's sort of like Uncharted, but a little different. And that's
Yeah,
what I was expecting. And it's not really anything like
it's
Uncharted.
the only part of Uncharted that it's really like is the Nazi zombies
That
section.
and Nolan North is David's voice, but
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that until I saw the credits.
I didn't either, and that
I was like,
surprised me
what
because it
the
didn't sound like him.
hell? No, it didn't.
Because I mean, I've heard Nolan North talk normally, like when he's not acting as someone, and it doesn't sound anything close to him.
No.
I would have never guessed in a million years. I thought they would have picked Hobo John off the street, and it would have been him.
Yeah, they
But
would
no.
have got the guy that was driving around this little creep van or something because he was creepy as shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now,
So, what did you think about the opening?
I loved
Like
it.
when you start as the little what's her name, Sarah?
Sarah, I think is her
Yeah.
name. Yeah. I was a little like, this is not what I bought at first. I was
Yeah.
I was a little shaken from my I know what this game is about kind of deal because I had seen enough. I hadn't watched any YouTube videos for any length of time, but I had seen enough gameplay on gaming websites and stories about the game, and pictures about the game to know that I would be playing most of the game as Joel.
Yeah.
So I was kind of on pins and needles because I was expecting a zombie to come out and bite my head off at any moment.
Yeah, I was fucking scared.
I was
Like when
too.
like when you were walking around upstairs and it's like, oh, okay, where's the guy that I'm supposed to be playing?
Yeah.
Who is this little chick? Where did he go? And then, like, when you're walking around downstairs, as soon as you get into the kitchen, all of a sudden that dog is barking, then it yelps and goes quiet. I
Yeah.
jumped. Oh, dude. Yeah.
When the zombie hit the door and it was the neighbor,
Oh, yeah.
I lost my stuff. I lost it. I mean, I had to change my drawers and like
Yeah,
just stop for a minute.
my dog jumped off the couch and went into the other room because she thought I was yelling at her. 'Cause I was as soon as that happened, I was like, Jesus! Ugh." And so she took off. She was like, I didn't do it, and ran away.
Oh man, that moment was that might have been the most scared I've ever been in a video game.
Yeah, that part
That
creeped
moment
me
right
out a
there.
lot. Yeah, yeah. I didn't. Yeah. I was as soon as that happened, I was like, I hope the whole game isn't like this because I'm scared.
I wouldn't be able to handle it.
uh,
Like I did my playthrough in two long sessions. I did one the Friday after 4th of July. I started at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I played until like 2 in the morning. And then I stopped for 2 weeks because I was incredibly busy with work. And then I came back to it and did like another like 8 hour session. And oh my god,
See, I was too intense for me to do that. It was way too intense. I did it in like little spurts. Of course, I was doing 60 hours a week, 6 days a week at
yeah.
work. So like I'd come home, play for an hour, and go to bed. But yeah, it was. I
I was putting down the controller and like turning it on to like the TV like cable sometime like every 45 minutes it seemed like I was taking a little break, but
You have
ooh,
to.
you do. I mean, my heart was racing. There were parts where I sweated.
Oh yeah.
Like I was literally like panicky and nervous and sweaty and oh,
All
it,
right. So after we got scared,
yes.
um,
Then there's what did you think when
I
the
thought the
shot
driving through the car thing was pretty cool.
that was cool. It was unexpected.
Yeah, it was a little wonky how slow she moved and stuff, but it was still pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
I liked it
Yeah.
instead of just a long cutscene.
Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, that made it better, I think, because you controlling it was better, I
Yeah.
thought. And then, um, what did you think about the like the town, like how it just the cinematics of the town?
It was that was one of the things that was a little annoying to me. And this was like right when I first started the game and I was still kind of like on the fence. I didn't know what I was getting into.
Uh-huh.
Um, when you're running and carrying her after the truck smashes into you and scares the crap out of you.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
another scared moment.
yeah,
Scared
that scared
moment
the
number
crap out of
two.
me. But yeah, running through the town, I kept getting stuck on people and like bump, and it was awkward.
Yeah,
The
it was awkward, and like you could see like the predestined path way
yeah,
beforehand because they did a good job of hiding most of it with like explosions and zombies coming out of buildings and like kind of hurting you in the right way. But there were three or four obvious places where like you knew you had to make a right turn up here.
yeah.
Um,
And I mean, I'm okay with that
yeah,
because I don't want to just be running around in circles. But I think there might have been a little like too many people or something because it was just I was having way too many collisions and I literally got stuck behind this one bitch that would not get out of the way. Like she stopped and ran in front of me and then
oh
backed up, and I was like, seriously?
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, but that was really the only time I had a problem with like their decisions or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and
The
then
shut,
the big sad time happens.
yeah. How did you feel like I remember like after okay, so she gets shot, and I thought he got shot first. That's
I
what I.
did too.
That was my initial reaction was that he got shot and she didn't, and somehow she was Ellie and the other guy was the dude on the cover, even though he didn't look like the dude that you had just shot. And then you see that she's shot, And then
Yeah,
you
I was
see,
really confused too. I
I
was like,
was I
so
was totally
wait,
confused in that part. I'm like,
who's
what
the
is?
little girl? Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's a different girl on the cover. So I was like,
I
what's
don't.
going on?
What? Yeah,
Um,
and then we see that she's been shot and she's dead.
yeah, that
I had to literally cried.
I didn't it didn't hit me that hard, but I was like in shock. Like
Yeah, I
I
was.
put the controller down and
Yeah,
it was like one of several times in the game that when it goes black,
and you're just like, wow.
for just a second, there was I was staring at myself in the on the TV with just my mouth hanging open. I was like,
Yeah,
did she just died? They just killed a what? That's I mean, and I think I've heard a lot of people saying that it's like they haven't seen that many kids killed in video games.
hmm,
And wasn't there one in wasn't there one in like Modern Warfare 2?
yeah,
Like at the very beginning, but it was just like some random kid. It wasn't anyone that you
yeah,
like had formed a what little bit of a bond with. But yeah, that totally like that fucked me up. I was like, "Holy
yeah. I mean,
what?"
my reaction to that moment, and as you said, several moments throughout the game was, oh my god, wow.
They just did that.
They
Yeah,
just
that
went
was
there, like I
yeah.
couldn't believe it. And we're only what 15, 20 minutes into the game,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I mean, that happened and I was just sitting there, and like once I regained some of my composure, I just was like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be awesome." I mean, you can't. I don't
Yeah,
know. It was. I did not see that coming at all.
yeah. And then his brother, what was his brother's name?
Tommy.
Tommy shoots the guy, shoots
Yeah.
the guy who shot Sarah, and I
Yeah,
was
because
like,
he comes up to Joel like he's gonna shoot him too, and I was like, they're both gonna. What is? Now everyone's getting shot. What the? And then yeah, he gets shot.
and then he gets shot, and then I'm like, so there went humanity. That was my initial thought, was like, well, humans are no more,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was shocked.
And then it jumps. All of a
Yeah,
sudden, after you get through the whole intro thing, it pops up and says 20 years later. And I was like,
I was like,
you can't just do that.
time out, hold the phone. Wait, what happened?
20
20
years?
years
What?
later?
Yeah, I was really
That
confused.
I've never heard of that before, like that big of a time jump.
Yeah, normally it's like 6 weeks later.
Yeah,
It's
or
always 6 weeks later, you know?
yeah, it's never 20 years.
Yeah,
The only
yeah,
time it's 20 years is when you're purposefully going into the future, like in Shattered Dimensions Spider-Man or some game like that. It's never the same game, the same storyline, the same timeline 20 years later.
yeah,
Like that doesn't happen. Which was an interesting thought to me, because I'm like, then that would make Joel like 50.
yeah. And he did age rather well.
Yeah, like I'm like, he looks really young for being like 50.
Yeah,
Because you figure Ellie's, or his daughter Sarah is like what, 12? So you
yeah,
figure if he has her at 16, he's got to be no younger than 28, you know?
yeah.
So I mean that was kind of weird to me, but um
Maybe he's one of those dudes that just like looked older when they were younger. You know what I mean?
yeah, and
Like,
so
I mean,
they,
I see people that are my age and they're like old, and it's like, why don't how do you look so old and stuff? I don't get it.
yeah, and then like when they're like 50, they look like the same like they were when they were like in their mid 20s.
Yeah, and I'll look like death.
Yeah. And then so it jumps 20 years later to Boston. And I'm like, what did I just, was that a dream? Did I just is this real life?
Yeah,
I had that moment, and then we're in Boston and there's all these rules, and the world is so different from the world that I personally in real life know, and the world that I knew 20 years ago in the video game. Like,
yeah. One thing I do like that how they did it though. It wasn't like they didn't go like the Fallout route with it. It
I've
wasn't
never
like 20 years and
I
it's like crazy different.
yeah, I've never played Fallout, but
Okay, well, whatever. It wasn't like 20 years and everything is like, like the military's all like got like crazy armor and shit and all this stuff. It's just like it's fairly normal. It's
Yeah.
like fair like what you would expect,
It's
minus the
like time
big
kind of stopped.
door lock things.
Yeah, those were weird.
Yeah, it took me a minute to figure out what the hell those were.
Like, why would you lock doors though? Like, I don't get that.
I
I
I
never,
don't.
I never,
I guess because they had curfews and all that shit, maybe.
maybe
I don't know.
that
But
must,
anyway,
yeah,
I thought Boston was pretty cool. You meet Tess. I don't know. I wasn't real a big fan of Tess.
yeah. She seemed just kind of bitchy to me
Yeah, I mean
and
it was.
naggy.
I didn't hate her, but I when you get to Ellie and stuff, and when you're alone with her, I was like, all right, the game's starting. Here we go. We're going on a fucking journey, whatever we're doing.
Yeah,
And then Tess comes back, and I was like, God damn it, get out of here.
yeah.
And then she did get out of there.
And she did. She dies
Yeah.
because she gets bitten, and she's like, "I've been bitten, and you need to finish the mission."
Yeah, and I don't know, and it didn't seem like Joel had that much of an attachment to her.
Not
And
really.
I think it was
They were
partly because he
partners.
was still in the asshole zone.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I was like, Ellie was like, oh my gosh, and I was like, yeah, whatever, we got to get out of here.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't. It was like, okay, whatever. Um, but one thing when you're in Boston, the first like gunfight you have,
yes,
the first time I got hit, I've never like gotten shot in a video game, and it felt like that.
yeah,
Like it like knocks you down, and it was like, oh shit.
yeah,
Getting shot's a big deal.
yeah.
It's not like my screen blinked a little bit. It was like I almost felt that.
I turned my controller vibration on, and I almost dropped my controller. Like it was
Yeah,
like
I thought that was
thud, like it was
really cool how
solid.
they did that. Yeah.
It was solid, and like you felt it, and you um yeah, it's like you were actually shot.
Yeah, I
The
really
only other
really
time
like
I've ever felt that was when I went to the Abraham Lincoln Museum and they fired an air cannon behind your head and make it feel like you got shot in the back of the head like Lincoln did.
why
See
would they do that?
it because they wanted to make it real.
Because reasons?
Because
That's
reasons. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
weird.
that was the only other time I've ever felt like I've legitimately been shot by a piece of multimedia.
How was your field trip, Tommy? I got shot in the face. What the hell?
Uh,
That's weird.
yeah, I'll have to tell you all about that some other time. Uh, but yeah, it was like, man, that was something that I should have mentioned before, and I'm glad we're having this discussion because, whew, I would have never remembered that. But yeah, just the first time you're shot, it's like, and every time after that you're shot, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, hide, hide immediately. It's not
Yeah,
like I got shot, so I'm just gonna rush you. It's like you can't because if
yeah.
you get hit once
Well,
and then try to rush
Joel
him, you're gonna get hit again.
when he gets shot, he goes down. He doesn't like not like in Call of Duty where you can take 3 or 4 bullets before you're killed and
Yeah,
you're just fine. No, he gets shot. He feels it. It's
yeah,
legit.
yeah, and it's the same. It's the same kind of sensation when a guy hits you.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the first time someone comes up and smacks you in the face with a piece of wood, it's like, oh, ow, this isn't good.
yeah. Whew.
Um, what? All right, so you had said something in your video about your companions like being loud and stuff,
Yes.
and you kind of lost me there.
Okay. So you know when you're trying to like sneak up on some dudes or you're in an area where there's a lot of bad dudes and like you're sneaking around, well, like Ellie for instance, she was making all kinds of noise.
Yeah.
Like I was sneaking around being real quiet, not running over papers or nothing, and she was just going stomp 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 hide. And I just thought that was something that irked me because like she was being really loud and they weren't hearing her, but the minute, I cough on a butterfly, the butterfly wing alerts them to my presence.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I
It-
don't know what they would have done differently, and besides just make her footsteps not make any noise, or just make her footsteps a generic sound so it didn't interact with the environment.
Well, I think
I liked that they couldn't alert people.
yeah, that if they would have like alerted people, I would have never finished the game.
Oh, me either. It would have no, that would have been horrible.
I would have never
So I
been able
see
to
what
finish
you're
the game.
saying, but
It wasn't like that big of a
I don't know
deal, but
how.
I was
Yeah,
kind of being kind of nitpicky, trying
yeah.
to find things that I guess were not perfect. Uh, I mean, it was one of those nitpicky things, and it only really bothered me. I was about, I'd say 30% of the way through the game, where you go down into the. I think it's when you go down into the subway in Boston, but like you have like 5 or 6 clickers in that. Um, I'm trying to remember where it was, where you have like there's like a convenience store and like a bookstore and you're under I think
Yeah.
you're in the
Okay.
subway. You know the one I'm talking about? There's like 5 or 6
Yeah.
clickers. There's a
Hmm.
clicker right to your right as you go in, and then there's a walker to the left. And then there's like 4 clickers in the center and a clicker around the back, kind of a deal. You know the one I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah. I
That
think
was really the only place where I had the problem, and I had that trouble with that level. I probably did that level 100 times until I figured out
what
the puzzle.
difficulty did you play on?
Easiest.
Easiest.
Yes.
I almost switched like 5 times. I almost switched. I almost dropped down to easy several times, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
I almost always play on easy because I'm not good at adventure games.
Well, I'm
And
horrible at all games.
yeah, I mean, I kept getting killed by clickers because I wasn't early on in the game, I wasn't consciously looking for materials. That was my problem.
See,
So
that was
I
see,
like
I
I had
was
to do that
looking.
level with like no ammo and no shivs.
See, I was looking for everything because it was a Naughty Dog game, and I was, sort of still in that mindset. So I was like looking for stuff everywhere. I was like, where are the treasures?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So what about the clickers?
Holy
What about the infect?
Okay. I thought the runners were super easy and like you could just deal with them by strangling them and you sneak up behind them and strangle them and it's over. But man, the
Unless you fucked
clickers.
up and accidentally like alerted them, and like 3 of them started running at you.
Yeah, and then you just shoot them with a gun, hopefully. If you had shotgun
Yeah.
shells, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But man, the
Yeah, the first
clickers?
time when the clickers showed up in that in the building,
Yeah.
the night of all times.
I was like, that might have been when I had see I had seen on Tumblr a clicker cosplay.
Oh
So
wow.
I had kind of known what they look like, but I'm like, that's a really weird looking zombie. Like, but then I like figured out like you learn in the story that it's because their face splits open because of what the bacteria does to your brain and so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay, that's just they were scary because not only could you hear them, but they knew exactly where you were if they heard you, and they
Yeah.
were hard to kill. To me, they were harder to kill than the 2 level 3s I faced and the level 4 I
The
faced.
bloater.
The bloater, yeah. To me, what I did with the bloater is with the level when you're in the gym, I just
Hmm.
shot him a bunch with my guns from long range and threw Molotovs at him, and like 3 Molotovs and a handful of shotgun shells and one of those rifle shots later, it was dead. Like
Yeah.
it didn't
Yeah.
take me any time.
The bloaters weren't a huge. The bloaters weren't a huge deal as long as you got rid of everything else first.
Yes, that's what I did.
But yeah, the first time that when you encounter the clickers, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like these. This is not
I
my
played that
favorite.
portion of the game holding my teddy bear. That's how scared I was. I mean, I legit was like holding on tight.
And then when they grab you, it's like the first time I screwed up and one grabbed me, I was like, oh crap, and I was waiting for a quick time, but it just like ripped my face off, and I was like, oh
Yeah,
my god, you
yeah,
can't
and
even
then
do anything. Oh,
that
this is
noise
not.
after
I
you
don't.
die
Yeah,
is just like roar, and you're like, whoa,
yeah.
whoa.
It's even worse when you're Ellie
Oh yeah,
and something gets you. Then it's like, oh man, I feel awful.
yeah.
But all right. So what? So clickers, and then you said some of the puzzles were hard.
I was
I found them to be kind of hard too, but I don't know
yeah.
if that's just because I was bad. Um,
Yeah, there was I actually cheated about I'd say 80% of the way through the game when you're in the subway, um, headed to I think you're in Pittsburgh.
yeah, and it's dark and there's like a million clickers everywhere.
I don't remember where specifically, but it's you're below ground and there's like lights up above to where you can see the sky. I think that's Pittsburgh. It might be Denver. No, it's not. It's I think it's Pittsburgh. When you're on almost to the bridge,
Okay.
you I cheated because I read the whatever thing on IGN or wherever I read it that said stay to the right and then avoid the two clickers and then hop over the car and do this. And so I hop over a car and I didn't have to face like 50 enemies because I did that. Um, oh, it was right before you get washed away in the sewer.
Oh,
You know where
okay.
Joel falls in and then Ellie tries to save him
Yeah.
and then he has to save Ellie and right before that. It was like the last non-long running sequence before that. I just bypassed it all by staying to the right and then hopping over the car. So that was a puzzle that would have been hard had I not known how to do it. And then the puzzle I talked about earlier, where I died like 100 times because there were like six clickers and you can only carry two or three shivs, and I was like, crap.
Yeah.
So that was a hard puzzle. And then I died probably 20 times when you give Ellie the gun the first time. When she has the long rifle,
Yeah, I didn't
I
that part I
died
didn't
maybe
have any
20 times.
problem with that part.
I had problem because I was getting too far out in the middle, and they were surrounding me and shooting me from like four or five places at once. That was
Yeah,
my problem.
I think I got lucky at that part because I got through that like the first try,
Oh, and I know the
and that
other,
didn't happen.
I know the other thing that was the tank or the Humvee.
Oh, fuck that thing. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
fuck that thing is
That
right.
thing was the worst. Yeah, that
I needed like
is like
I
when you
needed like
see
eight.
those guys, can we just pause for a second? He had said he had 52 cans of bacon. I've never seen a can of bacon.
You haven't?
No,
I've seen a
I
can of
didn't
bacon.
know. What is that?
Basically, if
Do
you
they
can
just like
imagine,
fold it up and jam it in a can?
no, 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 no. If you imagine like Pringles can, but like bacon sized. And they just stand bacon up in a can.
Is it like cooked
It's cooked, but
or like
it's
raw?
basically like beef jerky, but not smoked as much.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense because I was like, I don't know what that means. So I was literally thinking of like uncooked bacon in a can. I was
No,
so
no, no, no.
confused.
It's basically beef jerky in a like a pop size can, maybe a little bigger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The more you know. But yeah, that section, there's like three or four guys, and I killed them. And then in listen mode, there was that Humvee thing, and I
Oh
was
boy.
like, oh, cool. So do I get to get in that thing? So I ran out there and immediately got my face blown off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't right. Which I found myself saying that a lot in
Yeah.
the game. Oh, well, that wasn't the right way to do it. But yeah, then you've got to run away from that thing. I screwed that little level. I screwed that up over and over and over again.
Yeah, I had to probably redo that probably I'd say 50 times before I figured out you had to go all the way to the left, hide behind the car when it wasn't looking, and then go in the other room. Um,
And there was one part where
and then when it
it like
chases you, I died a bunch there too.
yeah, because the first time I like ran through the gap and then I stopped to use a health kit or whatever, and all of a sudden it came busting through, and I was like, oh well, that wasn't right.
Yeah. Now, one thing I would like to briefly talk about is the save points. Like the game auto saved like every 2 minutes,
Yeah,
and that was awesome because I hated because there was never an instance where like I'm all the way back here. Really, there was never
that
that.
happened to me once, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I was always constantly checking my saves and like I'm back here again already. Like what?
I think it was like towards the end where you've got to come through and there's a bunch of clickers and there's a bloater and you're like way in the sub and like
That's the puzzle I was telling you about.
oh okay yeah see that like
See, that's the one I
I
avoided because I stayed
stopped
all the way to the right.
yeah I stopped and went to bed or something and then when I loaded the game up it had put me Like I stopped in the middle, in between the two groups, and then it put me all the way back at the front again, so I had to redo it. But yeah, that was the only time. I did like how they did that. How it was like constantly saving.
Yeah, that was always helpful for me because I always hated like Uncharted's kind of bad about it because they'll go kind of it's kind of hit or miss,
Yeah,
and Tomb Raider was like that too. I thought Tomb Raider was very hit or miss at parts.
I didn't play that, but I want to.
Oh, it's good. Get it. Um, so what did you?
So
Yeah,
so after that, you meet Sam and Henry.
yeah. We talked about this last night when we were texting.
Yeah,
Holy crap!
yeah,
So, what percentage of the game do you say? So after you deal with the Humvee, you meet Sam and Henry because you kind of break into their house,
yeah,
or wherever they happen to be at the time.
yeah. And then Joel like almost murders Henry, but then there's little buddy Sam.
Yeah, with a gun pointed at his face.
Yeah,
And then they kind of realize that they're on the same team, trying to find the same people,
yeah.
and so they kind of work together, and you kind of hang out for a little bit. And then, were you when you go to the small town where all the houses are?
Uh-huh.
Did you feel like that was like an intended emotional? I felt like they did that for three reasons. I felt one, it was a break from all the action and all the zombies. I felt two, it was
The
a
small town.
yeah,
Are
where
you still with them?
yeah, you like right. So you go through.
Oh wait, you skipped a big part.
Did I?
Yeah. What
Okay.
about when they fucking leave you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like,
I was not happy.
I wasn't either. I was like, really, dude?
I
Are
was
you like
pissed.
giant McDouchey bag?
Yeah, I was
Like,
really, really pissed.
would you like me to get you a McDouche burger?
Yeah, I was not
I
happy.
was like, I was like, I didn't even know what to say, but I was like, fine, whatever, forget you guys.
Oh, were you expecting Ellie to pick up that toy for Sam
No.
when they're going through and douchebag Henry is like, "We only take what we need." It's like it's a fucking apocalypse. Who cares? But yeah, I totally expected Ellie to like reach down and pick it up,
Yeah.
and she did.
Yeah, I was a little
It's in her
surprised
backpack.
by it.
Did you look in her backpack when you're playing as her?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, if you go to like artifacts or whatever, all the shit you pick up, you can look through all the stuff that she has in her backpack, and it's kind of cool because she like talks a little bit on some of the stuff that you pause on, and that figurine is in there.
Did you pause on it? Did she say anything? Because I never
Yeah,
even opened her
she said
backpack.
um something like, "Oh, that was so stupid. I should have said something better," or I don't know, something like that.
I did though when they were together alone in the room. I'm like, they like each other. They like each
Yeah, they were gonna get
other.
their swirl on.
Yeah, I was totally expecting that. And then
Then they fucking leave you, and I wanted to murder both of them.
yeah,
Mainly just because Sam was guilty by association, but
yeah,
yeah, and then they allegedly save you
yeah,
or
from the
whatever.
from the
But
river.
man, I was
Oh,
when he knocks him down, like is pointing the gun at Henry, I was like, shoot him. I was like literally yelling at my TV, shoot him,
shoot him.
shoot
Yeah.
him. I was pissed.
I wasn't I don't think I was that mad, but I was just like, oh man, I could mess you up right now,
Oh
son.
man, I was mad. It's like how do you fucking really?
Yeah, yeah. And then what about right after that moment when you're in that sewer?
Yeah, you go in the sewer because
Like
it's a video game and you
because it's a
have to
video
go
game
in
and
the
you have to
sewer.
go in the sewer.
Yeah, as soon as we got up to that, it was like, oh, I think we can go through here. I was like, the fucking sewers, really?
That's exactly what I said. I'm like, really, dude? Like you're
I
gonna
don't want to do that.
I don't want to go. Like,
I did
can I go
like,
through the town because I don't want any part of this sewer.
I did like the all the notes from Ish that you found.
Yeah,
I was totally expecting him to pop up somewhere,
yeah.
but yeah, I did not like the sewers at
I ran
all.
out of ammo.
Did you find that the one room with the kids in it?
Yeah.
That was hardcore.
I I needed a minute after that. Like I'm like, oh my god, and I dropped my controller and like I went into like a rocking fetal position in my chair and I'm just like, it's okay. It's just a video game. It's okay. It's just a video game.
I
It's
know,
okay. It's
dude.
just a
And
video
it's like
game.
it says they didn't suffer on the floor, and I was like, what the hell does that mean? And then I like read a note, and when I was reading the note, or after I got done, I just happened to look down and I saw like there's a cover over and there's like little shoes sticking out. I was like, holy shit. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And then you walk out and like Joel looks at Ellie and I was like, don't you fucking say anything. And he just keeps walking. I was like, whew, thank God. I did not want to have to mess with that dialogue right now.
I'm a little messed up right now from
Yeah,
it.
dude, that man.
And then I guess that moment was kind of balanced, for lack of a better word, when you leave the sewer after you've dealt with all the hardcoreness that was down there. I ran out of ammo halfway through, so I'm beating them up with shivs in my fists. Um, and then the note on the wall. What did you think of that?
No, oh God, yeah.
I was like, really?
Yeah,
Like, there's
and
not one
then
on the other.
El like as soon as it said that, as soon as I read that, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then Ellie says, "Are you fucking kidding me?" or something like that, and I
Yeah,
was
that's what
like,
she says. She's like, why couldn't you put another note on the other side?
"I know, dude." I was like, "Really? God, fucking Henry. It was Henry's fault."
Yeah. And then right after that is what I was talking about a little while ago before I skipped
Yeah,
very
yeah,
far
okay,
ahead was the small town, which to me I thought was an emotional break, a chance to fill up all your ammo and get parts and upgrade your weapons,
yeah,
and kind of a chance to get to know Henry and Sam a little better, get to know Ellie a little better, and get kind of a short, brief sense
yeah.
of
I liked that because that was one of the times where you see something that um, you and I clearly recognize, and uh, Joel and Henry do. Um, but like the kids have no idea
yeah,
when you come across the ice cream truck and Ellie's like, "What is that?" and you're like, it's an ice cream truck."
yeah.
It's like, "Duh, it's an ice cream truck." And
She's
she's like,
like,
"Really? What is that?" And it's
she's
like,
like,
"Holy shit!"
they put ice cream on trucks. Didn't
Yeah,
it
it's
melt?
yeah, and it's like, wow. It just like you got to think for a second. It's like she's never experienced anything other than living in, like an oppressive quarantine zone
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And like, or when she's earlier when she sees the model and she's like, "Why is that girl so skinny?" And it's like she's never even seen like advertising really. It's
yeah.
crazy.
And then she talks about being in the military school,
Yeah,
and I'm like, you never went to like a real school or any of that,
yeah.
like kids her age are normally thinking about like she might be a little young for boys, but like her
I
age
don't
and a
know.
little
She
bit old,
was. What was she like? What she's 14,
14 or 15,
right?
yeah, she was like 14, but like they're normally like into boys and clothes and
And like
at that,
1D, One
yeah,
Direction all the
One
way.
Direction. And when she saw the movie poster, she's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, that's just a dumb teen movie I saw the night before the outbreak or whatever."
Yeah, man, I forgot about that. That made me sad.
That made me sad too because he's like, I
Yeah,
don't
so
fuck
I don't know. Somebody made me go see it, and I was like, "Oh man,
man,
we
just
need to move on. I
yeah.
don't like this. Don't, Ellie, come on."
And then the little dialogue box popped up above your head, and you're like, "Oh, I gotta do it,"
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you did it.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
made
it's
me
like
sad.
sad face. Yeah, I had totally forgotten about that. Wow.
Yeah, but getting back to the town,
Oh yeah,
because we
so
keep jumping around a bunch, but
I know.
we're only like I don't know 35% of the way through the game so far. Uh, and then the sniper scene.
Yeah, man. Did you mess up during the sniper scene?
Which part? Because I didn't mess up during the second part.
I mess like well either when at either point it
I only messed up when the sniper was shooting at me because I got stuck on the corner of a thing and
oh
it shot
yeah
me
no
square in the
I
face.
yeah no yeah I messed up a couple times during that and that part was scary
Yeah,
because I
it
was like
was.
why can't I shoot this fucking guy I didn't understand until I got up there but yeah that part I messed me up a couple times but what I was talking about is when you get up in there
No, I
you're
was a perfect
mounted.
like 30 for 30 or something.
Oh, dude, I was awful. And you're lucky that you didn't mess up because if you screw up when the guys are running down there, one of them will literally like grab Ellie, throw her on the ground, and shoot her in the face.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like, oh, holy crap! And I don't remember if it's that one, but and then if you screw up when the guy's throwing
The napalm,
the
the
Molotovs out,
Molotovs.
yeah,
I
um,
shot him first
it'll
try, actually. When he's coming down the road and you see him for the very first time, I was waiting for him to pop out and like pull
yeah,
out a
I didn't
machine gun.
understand what was going on, so I was like trying to shoot its tires and stuff like a moron. But yeah, if you screw up in that part, they he hits all three of them with the Molotovs, and they die, and it cuts to Joel, real close up at Joel, and he like comes off of the sniper scope, and he's like, "Oh, sweet Jesus!" And it's like, "Oh man, get it together." It's like I can't mess this up again. Holy crap!
Yeah, uh, yeah. I didn't encounter that, but man, I was just like, how am I going to take this thing out? And then I saw in the driver's window him kind of pop up. I'm like, oh, he's popping up, and then I quick scoped him.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
didn't.
I
I
did a
did
quick
not get
drag
it.
scope and popped him right in the head, and the Molotov cocktail fell in the thing, and that's how that level ended.
Yeah, I tried the 360 YY, but it wouldn't work.
Yep. And so a moment we both agree is next, I think,
Yeah.
where we both were like, "Holy crap, did that just happen? Wow, oh my god, what did I just watch?"
Yeah, like
So to set
when
it up,
they
so
when
to
they got attacked,
yeah,
I was like, that was a little weird. Like I don't and see, I wasn't sure if it was something I did at first because I was like, man, I think I got the one off Henry, but I don't know if I got the one off Sam.
yeah. I mean, first they set up that what we're talking about with a tender moment between Sam and Ellie,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to everyone go to bed, and then the next morning Ellie goes in, Sam is infected.
Yeah. I was like,
I
oh,
was like,
like
crap, that's bad.
when he pulled his pant leg up, like after Elliot walked off, like I thought he was acting a little weird. I was like, what's this kid's fucking problem?
Yeah,
Um, but I was like, maybe he's just upset because there's the rest of their group, no one else is there.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, then he pulled his leg up, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
yeah. That
Like
was my
I like it
exact
was one
thought.
of those moments where like I was leaning forward on the couch and I sat back, and I was just
Yeah.
like my shoulders just kind of dropped, and I was like, "Oh no!"
And then he comes storming out and jumps on Ellie.
Yeah, and yeah, and when Joel goes for the gun, and then fucking Henry shoots it away from him, I'm like, "What do you? You can't do that!"
Yeah. I was like,
Because Henry doesn't know that Ellie's immune.
yeah,
I mean, Sam could potentially still like maul her or whatever, but she won't get infected. But still, I was like, "What are you doing?"
yeah,
And then he shoots him, and it's like, okay, so he wanted to do it. He didn't want Joel to shoot him. He
to
didn't want
shoot
to.
him. I'm like, oh, okay, that can make sense. You know, he's his brother. It's his responsibility, and he wants to shoulder that burden for his rest of his life. And then what happens next?
Yeah,
Oh
and then
my
Joel
god.
tries to talk him down. He's like, "All right, Ellie, stay where you are. All right, give me the gun, Henry." And then Henry just straight up shoots himself in the side of the fucking head.
Yeah.
And like where my that was another part that just made my jaw drop, and I was just like,
I
and
had
then it just goes black.
yeah,
They were
I
great at doing that, like dropping this huge bomb on you, and then just being like, okay, we're just gonna go black for a second
and
and let you just
let you just be there for a minute.
marinate in that.
There
Yeah,
was there was that was the only time where I was like, "Oh my god." Like
like I didn't even say anything. I just sat there with my
I
mouth
thought I
open.
didn't say it, but I thought "Oh my god." I verbalized the word "wow." And then I immediately went to nope, dropped my controller, got out of my chair, walked out of the room, and
Yeah,
like came back
after
like I
it popped
paused
up
it.
and
I
said
paused
like,
it, but I got up, walked away, and I'm like, nope. And I went downstairs and then got a drink, and I'm like, holy crap.
yeah, that was after that happened. I turned the game off for I was done with that session. I was like, I need a break. I wow.
That might have been yeah. That was actually where I ended my first session.
Yeah,
Uh,
after that I was like, that was I need a minute.
yeah,
I need a
I was just I was not. That was the moment in the game where I was a different person in real life. That moment I think changed me.
Yeah, it was like I don't know, dude. It's just I was it was unexpected, but understandable. It wasn't one of those unexpected because it was so ludicrous, video game world crazy shit. It was like that could, I mean, yeah,
That could be a legitimate outcome.
yeah, like I understand that if like your kid brother that you're basically his dad basically now
Yeah.
because it's you're looking out for him and then you somehow you fucked up. I mean, it was like he went through like the all the stages like in a millisecond. Like he
Yeah.
was like
He went
freaking
from
out and then he was yelling at Joel and then he was like, "Okay, whatever. I'm done too." And it was just like, "Oh,
yeah, I
oh."
was beside myself after that.
And I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. So I was like I was like I like text my buddy. I was like, "Dude, I just got to a part in The Last of Us that I mean, I had to turn the game off." And they're like, "I don't get what? I don't. Isn't that like zombies? I don't know." I was like, "I can't talk to you. You don't know what I'm talking about, man."
Yeah, I had to I messaged Doc on Facebook after that. I was like, I can't. Words, feelings, emotions, heartbreak, sadness, crying, help.
Yeah, it was like, yeah. And then, but after that, they did a good job of like letting you calm down a
Yeah.
little bit. Is that
What
was when you're walking through the forest, right? Before you get to, yeah. Well, was that
before you
before
get
you get the bills?
I'm trying to remember
I think it was. Maybe not.
cuz you had already gone in through the river. Yep, you were already the other side. Yep. You'd gone through the
Did we
sewer.
skip Bill?
I don't think did we?
I don't remember.
I'll have to look at the walkthrough. Let me look through the walkthrough. But continue with your line of thought while I look
Yeah,
for the
but I thought
walkthrough.
that was cool how they gave you if you would have continued playing, which I was not able to. I was like, I can't. I gotta go lay down. But you're in the forest and you're walking through and everything, and the game is like one of the best looking games I've ever played. And it was just like we're not in a city
Bill is before
anymore.
Pittsburgh, yes.
We skipped Bill.
We
How the
skipped
fuck
Bill.
did that happen?
I feel like Bill is actually after Pittsburgh, just
It
probably
felt
be
like it was.
probably because the suburbs. No, but after Pittsburgh is Tommy's Dam,
Okay, yeah,
which is like you're in the forest and then you go to Tommy's Dam
yeah.
and then you're at the dam and then the house. But let's go back to Bill, I guess, since we accidentally skipped Bill, and I now have the walkthrough up, so we can kind of go in order.
Okay, cool.
Um,
Yeah,
Bill was crazy.
yeah. When I first met Bill, I was like, this guy's a dick, but I like him.
Yeah, like
It was
he's like,
weird.
I was like, he's a dick, but I like this guy. Like he's legit.
Yeah.
And the clicker scene, right when you get past the church, that one was another one of the puzzles. I was like, I failed that like a whole bunch of times and a half. Uh,
What about when you hit that trap and all of a sudden you're upside
you're
down? You
upside
got to
down, dude.
protect Ellie.
That was like it was like I was playing a video game while I was on like mushrooms or something.
Yeah, that was
It
crazy.
was
And then it
crazy.
jumps you up higher again. I was like, I can't do this. Don't hurry up.
Yeah. And then Bill comes and rescues you, and things are made easier because he gives you the shotgun at that point. So the rest of the game is much easier.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, but I really liked Bill and his character.
hmm
I really liked the way Bill and Ellie interacted.
Yeah.
That cracked me up. Like right when you first meet him, she's like, she just like immediately starts cussing him out after she rips the pole off the wall and smacks him with it.
Yeah. And two before like when you get near him his town, she doesn't know what records are. Did you go
Oh
in the record
yeah,
store?
yeah, yeah.
I went in the record store and like she doesn't. I'm like, dude. And they did you look at any of the records? I thought this was really cool. They had album artwork from like albums. Like one of them was Appetite for Destruction. They had a Green Day American Idiot in there was one I recognized.
Really?
Yeah, they did. It was
I
like
didn't notice that.
it was not exactly right, but it was close enough that you
It was
could be
close
like,
enough.
okay, that's American Idiot, or that's Appetite for Destruction, or that's what was another one I recognized? Paula Cole's album. I recognized that one for
That's
whatever reason. And I'm like, but it wasn't. It didn't have the name on it. It had like some weird made up fake band
yeah.
and some weird fake made up album title. Oh, the Penguins, doo-wop group. I recognized their album in there too. Um, and those were I was like, well, that's kind of cool that.
Of all the albums you would recognize.
Well, it's because it's purple and it has the five of them in black and white on the front. I mean, I've seen
That's
that album
funny.
1,000 times. But
Yeah, I thought that was cool, but she was like, "Oh, it's so sad. There's like no one's listening
no
to it."
one's
And it was
listening to
like,
this.
yeah, when she said it, I was like, "That is kind of sad, Ellie. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks for making me feel like crap,
Mm,
bro.
Great, way to go."
Um, and then the traps.
Yeah,
Did you
that
get?
first trap scared the crap out of me.
It scared the crap out of me too. Did you see it beforehand? Because I was like, what is that wire? And
No,
then the
I
zombie
didn't
runs
see
into
it.
it, and boom.
I didn't see it. All of a sudden, there was a clicker coming around the corner, and I was like, "Oh shit, clicker, not good." And then it just exploded, and I was like, "What?
Thank you.
What was that?" Like
I
my initial thought was, "Oh great, they explode now." But then it was like, "Oh, that's one of Bill's traps," and I was like, "Okay, good," because I don't think I can deal with an exploding clicker.
yeah, I would have been. That would have been a whole lot of nope for me. Would have been an
Yeah,
exploding clicker. I'd have been like, nope, 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 nope.
yeah, yeah.
Ah,
But yeah, I thought that was cool. I liked all his little like how he had everything all barricaded up and stuff. I thought that was
yeah.
it seemed very realistic to me, like how
How,
he did it all, you
yeah, how
know?
he did it. And then he kept like mentioning to them, "Oh, well, I need to go shore up this wall because clickers are getting in, or I need to go patrol this fence because the clickers are getting in, or
Yeah, and
what
you
have
could
you."
tell there was something weird about that guy by the way he wrote it. It was like some of it was like in all caps and stuff, and it was like this
Yeah,
guy is gonna be weird. And then you meet him, and he is really weird.
really weird. Like, I mean, he's out in left center field playing with the dandelions. Weird.
Yeah, and then there's that when you come across that one that's like lodged in the window.
Yeah,
And like as soon as it like started making noise, I like immediately crouched and went into listen mode, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's right there!" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I gotta take care of this." I was like, "What the hell?"
yeah. Didn't he have it trapped or something?
It was like some sort of like guillotine type thing in the window or something that it got stuck in. And he just walks over and like chops its head off.
Oh yeah, I remember now. And then that's when you go to the church and you walk out to go get the car part at the high school.
Yeah,
So the high school. Let's we're now near
we
the
totally skipped the fucking high school too.
we did oh man. It looked like the high school scene reminded me of three things. It reminded me of the third Batman movie that just came out like 2 years ago when they're on the bridge and they're stuck and they got the school bus. It reminded me of that.
Oh yeah, okay,
It reminded me of Day After Tomorrow, the disaster movie. Well,
okay, yeah, I
really,
can
it
see that a
reminded
little
me of
bit.
like every disaster movie I've seen, which is
Yeah,
like three of them. Because I don't like disaster movies because I'm like that can really happen and my life is over. Um, so it was like every disaster movie I'd seen and Batman, the third Batman movie, uh, with all the buses there, like this bus is going to Austin and this bus is going here and this bus is going there, yet they never left.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that part, the school creeped me out just because it was a school. I think
yeah,
was really the main reason. But that's that first scene when you get into the school where you're just running, where
yeah,
it's just like that. That's what you're supposed to do. Don't try to just run.
yeah.
Yeah, that part was
And then you get
pretty
to the
scary.
gym and that's your first encounter with a bloater.
Yeah, dude, when that thing came out of the like closet or wherever it was, I was like, "What is that thing?"
How
And
do
then
I
it
kill it?
chucked something at me, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like this. Do not want. Don't like it." But yeah, like you were saying, the bloaters didn't seem that big of a deal. They really don't like fire. Um, so yeah, that seemed the easiest thing with a bloater. It seemed like was if you're far enough to have the flamethrower, just hit them with that, and
Hmm.
you're pretty much
And
good.
we skipped before Pittsburgh. We skipped probably the most sad moment for me was
Did we?
right after you go to the high school. You got the car working, and you drive to Pittsburgh, and you stop like where all the cars are, and you're like, well, I better get off here. And if you go to the left, did you see the RV?
Oh yeah.
Where so the mom is outside and she is all eaten up, and like I forget, I think her bottom half, she didn't have any skin on her bones. The bottom half, she's charred.
I
It's
didn't see the mom outside, but I
it's
went and
gross. I
yeah,
went inside. Oh my god! And the kids
yeah,
laying there
yeah.
dead with
Yeah,
the
and there's the
note.
family photo, and yeah,
It says, "I'm sorry."
I didn't like that part.
That, and then
I
later,
forgot.
did you see that? Did you find the dad later?
I don't guess so.
The dad was where was the dad? The dad was in the first hotel on the left. He was by his bag, and he had a note that says, "I'm sorry."
Oh, I didn't know that was the dad.
That was the dad. He had the note where like, "I've made it. I'll send people for you later." Yada yada yada. That was the dad because it
Oh,
was the same name.
wow. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that was the dad. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, family's dead. Nope, nope, nope. Yeah. Those two moments leading into Pittsburgh for me were really, really scary.
Yeah, I didn't. I went in the RV and I saw the little shoes sticking out again. And I was like, oh man. And then I saw the family photo and I was like, oh man.
Yeah. And I should mention too that it took me forever to get through that first street in Pittsburgh because couldn't find one of the marauders. He was hiding in the building to the left, and I couldn't find him. I took out everybody, and I'm like walking around like I know where I need to go. Just why can't they let me climb this ladder yet? And then I'm like, oh well, this guy's still here. So then I killed him, and then Ellie's like, that was close, and I'm like, really?
No, it wasn't.
Not at all. So
I did have one glitch in the game. It was like way, way back in the beginning. It was like one of the first times you see runners, I think.
uh-huh.
Um, but something happened and Ellie and Tess turned invisible.
Okay.
The only reason I knew they were still there is because I could see their flashlight, like the light from their flashlight. That graphic was still there, but their person was not there.
Huh.
Um, and they were invincible. They couldn't be harmed by the infected. I was also invincible,
I would
um,
have taken that all the way through the
but
game.
yeah, but I couldn't. I couldn't melee. I could only use a gun, and at that point, you don't really have that much ammo at all.
Right.
So yeah, I was like, as soon as I figured out what was going on, I was just kind of running in circles, and the infected would run up to me and just like stand there and be like, "Rar," and I was like, I'm out of ammo, so I had to wait for Tess to shoot him. But yeah, that was the only glitch that I found in
Hmm.
the game.
Yeah. So skipping forward
So yeah,
to
where are we at now?
we were talking about the
Oh wait, we
suburbs.
I don't think we were done with Bill, were we?
Were we? I was.
Uh, what about when you find his buddy or his partner or whatever,
Oh, yeah, that reminds me.
and it's like, oh, Bill's gay. Okay.
Yeah, Bill's gay and his friend hung himself because he got infected,
Yeah,
and then
and he
Bill's out in the garage. And you know what
stole his
I
battery.
first thought?
What?
I thought that was his house.
Oh,
Did you?
uh-uh.
I thought that was Joel's house at first. I actually thought that a few times throughout the game where like I was like this house is kind of like Joel's house.
That would have been messed up.
Like it was different because the garage was not in the right place, but like if you just say the garage is that like computer room with the glass door, that would have been their house to me.
It probably was. It was
And
probably very similar, just a little,
a little
just some of the
different.
stuff
But I
moved.
kept waiting for him to go back to his house and like
Oh
Ellie
God, I'm
see.
glad they didn't.
Oh, I know, me too.
I couldn't have handled that.
I kept waiting for Ellie to see Sarah and him to go back home and be like, "Oh my God, this is my life," and them like him like having like a mental breakdown and like zombies coming and he's like, "I don't care." I don't know
Oh
what would have
man,
happened, but I'm
I
so
am
glad they
glad
didn't do
that did
that
not
because
happen.
that would have been all the feels. That
That
would have
would have
been
been
all
the
of them.
worst thing ever.
I would have I would have laid down, tried not to cry, and cried a lot.
Yeah.
That's what would have happened.
But right after that, when you find out Bill's gay and stuff, and then when you're driving and Ellie shows you that magazine,
Yeah.
I think that point right there, it was the combination of her banter with Bill and then her finding that magazine and what she says about it.
What
I
did she
think that
say? I don't remember.
she's like, "What is this? I don't." And Joe's like, uh, er," and she's like, "I'm just kidding. I know what it is." And then she starts like looking at it, and she's like, "How do they walk around with those things?" And it's like, "Oh my God!" And then she's like, "Why are the pages all sticky?"
I laughed
And she's
really
like,
hard when she
"Yeah."
said
And she's
that.
like, "I'm just fucking with you." Then she throws it out the window. After her banter with Bill, and then that little cutscene, I think that was the point where I like totally fell in love with Ellie.
Yeah. I was like, I want this kid with me if this ever happens.
Yeah. All right. So, uh, where did we skip
We
to?
left off right between the suburbs and Tommy's dam. So we talked about the
Okay, yeah.
sewers and going through the suburb, and then um, Sam getting shot, and uh, I'm forgetting his name now.
Henry.
The Henry shooting himself. So then you kind of are out in the woods, and
Yeah, and I like that they changed clothes.
yeah,
That was just a little thing that I noticed when it started up. I was like, oh, hey, wait a minute. They changed clothes.
yeah, because they changed seasons. It was
Yeah,
now fall, and they
yeah,
changed clothes, and then you also see them slightly different for winter.
yeah. Oh, God, don't get me started on winter.
Yeah, let's
Um,
we'll get there in a minute. So it's fall now. So the dam was the dam.
yeah. Did you have problems finding the palette?
Yes, and then I went to the walkthrough.
I didn't find it until it popped up, like the hint popped up, and it was like hit L3, and I was like, thank God, because I've been swimming around in circles. I've gone in that stupid
I
building under the water 4 times. I don't understand.
Yeah, I went across the way thinking, "Hey, it's over here." Just found some weird stuff. And then I was like, "I don't want to spend all night trying to find this." So then I looked up the guide and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I got to dive down." And it took me like 3 tries to dive down cuz I couldn't figure out how to pull it off the roof, and I was just like, "Oh, you got to push it from underneath." And
Yeah,
then I figured it out, and then that was a hunky dory a-okay.
yeah, that part aggravated me.
And then you're almost shot at the gate after finding the high-powered pistol, which was awesome.
Yeah, El Diablo.
The El Diablo.
I think the Beast, when you upgrade it and you can shoot 3 rounds out of it.
Really? I didn't upgrade that at all because I liked using the 45 or whatever it was.
Yeah, you can upgrade it and have 3 rounds before you have to reload.
Hmm.
Did you like the upgrade system?
I did. I thought that I thought it should have been a little more obvious the parts because I missed one. So I only had 4 and I couldn't fully upgrade everything. But I
Oh, the tools,
the
yeah.
tools, yeah, not the parts, the tools. But I thought it was really really well done and really awesome.
Yeah, I did too. I liked it a lot. I didn't really understand what was going on at first when like the first time I went into it, and I was like, "What is?" Where it says tools, it's like there's like a number and then there's the parts, and I was like, "I don't know what that means." So I only get to use like one thing. I was so confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I liked how it worked. Uh, I thought the benches. I don't know. I would have liked to been able to use it more and maybe
Yeah.
not upgrade as much
Uh,
each time or something.
I would have liked the upgrades to have been a little bit cheaper, and I would have liked there to have been way more benches than there were.
Yeah.
I would
I,
say double the benches for me
all right.
because I only found like 5 or 6 benches in the entire game.
Yeah, there were not only a handful of them.
Um,
I remember I found one and only had like 30 parts, and I was already up to like level 4, and it was like, great, I can't do anything.
yeah,
So anyway, you almost get shot at the gate.
and then you come in and Ellie sees horses,
Yeah,
which was weird. Which they
yeah,
play a
that was
part
kind of weird.
later.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But you get to go up and pat the horse on the butt. That was fun.
Yep, that was cool. And then you meet Tommy again, which was
Yeah.
odd because they had kind of an estranged relationship, although it was never really
Yeah,
said.
because at the very beginning, she's like, "So what happened?" And he was like, "I think my his last words were, I don't want to ever see your goddamn face again." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
good. This will be fun."
yeah. and so they're kind of friendly, but kind of not at the same time.
Yeah, man, right before you get attacked, they're like pissy.
Yeah, because he's like, I got to do this and I need your help. And he's like, well, I'm not helping you. I'm not going to take her because I got a good thing here and I got a family and all this and all that. And I'm like, whoa, they're about to fight.
Yeah, and like that was when they first started talking about it, I was like, you can't abandon her. What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
I was like, no, no, no. I don't
that,
want to play as Tommy. Is that's sort of what I thought. I was like, they're what? No, that can't happen. What?
yeah,
No. Um, but yeah, then you get attacked. That was nothing special. But then Ellie runs away.
yeah. And I'm like,
She
crap.
just takes off on a horse. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, Ellie?
Yeah, that was my thought exactly. And then I'm like, my thinking ahead was like, she's gonna run into literally clicker heaven, and there's gonna be like 5 billion clickers and 1,000 runners,
Yeah,
and this is not gonna be good. But she ends up running into marauders, which were, is that what they're called, marauders?
I think so.
Whatever they're all called, and they're much easier to deal with, I think, than the zombies or the infected.
Yeah, yeah, for the most part.
Because they're pretty straightforward. You kill them like you kill a human being.
Yeah.
Uh, and then you find her, and she's like in the house, and then like all hell breaks loose again.
Yeah, dude, this
And I had
was
a glitch in the house actually, but continue.
that the scene in the house. That one really, really affected me.
Remind me which one you're talking about.
When when you go upstairs and you
Oh,
walk in and you start talking to Ellie
yeah.
and she just loses her shit.
Yeah. She basically spills her guts to you about how
Yeah.
she wants to be a normal teenager and worry about when she finds the diary and she's like, is that all they worried about
Well,
was
yeah, she's
boys and
reading
makeup
that.
and movies and
Yeah, and then Joel's like, "All right, let's go." And then she just like starts crying and like just goes off on Joel. And that is when that part I was like on the verge. I was like I almost lost it when he's like being a dick and
yeah.
he's like, "Well, I'm damn sure not your father," or whatever he says. I was like, "Man, come on." And luckily, that's when Tommy bursts in and like there's guys running in the house because if that scene had gone on for like 3 seconds longer, I would have been crying all over the place.
Yeah.
That part really, really got to me.
I remember, yeah, I remember being like thinking like her life is just so hard and like it's terrible that she can't be a air quotes normal kid and
Yeah.
worry about boys and clothes and makeup and movies. And then yeah.
Yeah,
So
and then like the one person that's like been sticking around is trying to pawn her off on somebody else.
yeah.
And it's like,
Cuz yeah, that was something else she talked about was how she never really had anyone who she cared about who had been in her life for very long because they either left or died.
yeah.
Huh.
And she's like,
Yeah.
and then you're leaving too. And I was like, oh God.
Way to make me feel like crap.
Yeah. I didn't even do anything. I want to play with you the rest of the game. But fucking Joel. Dickbag Joel.
Yeah, Dickbag
Um,
Joel.
but yeah, man, if those guys hadn't come in there trying to kill me,
I would
I
have
would have
lost it
lost
too.
it. Yeah.
But my glitch, I had a glitch on the staircase where I could sit at this top of I cleared it all. I cleared the first floor or the top floor, and then I stopped at the top of the stairs, and like I could see through the railing and I could shoot through the railing, so like they couldn't see me, and I was just pumping shotgun shells through the invisible railing that they couldn't see through and killing them at the bottom of the stairs. And I had this big pile of bodies at the bottom of the stairs, so that happened.
That's weird.
Uh,
Yeah, no, I just
it was an awesome glitch because it made that level completely like easy for me, but
yeah.
it was like, come on, really? Like this really have to happen? But I mean, that was really the only major glitch that happened other than the one earlier in the game.
Yeah, and then thankfully Joel redeems himself and gives the horse back to Tommy and, takes Ellie with him.
Takes Ellie with him, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I was like, when that happened, I was like, thank God.
Yeah, and then they ride to the university. But where do you think Tommy's dam was? I'm curious.
I don't,
Cause
I
I
don't remember where. I know he said it, but I don't remember.
I want to say it was like in like Missouri, but I don't think that's right.
I can't remember because I thought he said. I know when he got there, he was like, "What are you doing here? I thought I'd find you in Jackson."
Yeah,
But I don't know what Jackson. I don't know what state or whatever.
Jackson, Mississippi, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious.
I don't know. But yeah, so
So then,
yeah, then you go to the university.
oh boy.
Yeah, you said the university really affected you, and I mean, I sort of see where you're coming from, but
Yeah, it was. So first, when you first get to the university, you're going through. I'm trying to remember because the university is kind of all clumped together for me. So you go
yeah.
through the outskirts of the university. You
I
arrive on a.
did like it, like when you first get there, and like Ellie or Joel's explaining football to Ellie.
Yes, that was awesome.
I thought that was cool. It was like he's starting to warm up some more. His heart's starting to thaw out a little bit.
They could mean Jackson, Ohio. Jackson, Ohio. When you type in Jackson City, is the first Jackson that pops up. So it could be Jackson, Ohio,
Mm.
because that would
Well,
make sense because it's on a river. Let me look. Yeah, it's on several rivers, and uh, it's kind of if you're heading out to Colorado, it's kind of on the way from Pittsburgh
maybe.
because it's kind of in kind of the south middle of the state. Kind of, well, it's really
I
technically
don't
the
know. I
south
know they
part of the state.
said, but I don't remember.
So I don't,
I know they
yeah,
said where they were going, but I can't remember now.
but yeah. So talking about, we're back to the university. Sorry for the distraction, but back to the university. It really affected me once you actually got to the quad. Like the before part, like when you pull up, didn't affect me. This is what was it? Colorado State or something like that. They were the Rams, weren't they?
Bighorns. Yeah, it
Bighorns or
was.
something like
I don't
that.
remember. I don't
So it was
follow
supposed to
sports,
be
so whoever the
Colorado State
Bighorns are.
University, whatever the university called itself. You pull up on the horse and you're kind of walking around, and then the first part didn't bother me, but when you get to the quad, I'm like, oh my god, like, because I went to a 4-year university, and like I every time I hear the word quad, when Joel mentions it in the game, I think of there were always people there playing ultimate frisbee or sitting in chairs reading books or throwing a ball around. There was always life, and even the trees were dead.
Yeah,
Everything was dead. And I'm like, that to me is what hit me because there weren't any dead bodies there, but there was dead foliage. It looked horrible, and it's just like I just don't know how to deal with no more. Like it's like there's no humanity anywhere
yeah,
because you're taught to believe and to lead up to this moment where um the fireflies are there and there's a lot of them. At least that's my opinion of what they were trying to tell us was that there's fireflies
yeah.
there
Oh yeah,
and there's a
yeah.
lot of them.
It was like this is where you're going. So I was, yeah.
Uh,
When we got there, I was like,
I
oh,
was thinking the
are
game
we?
was mostly over,
Yeah, I was too. I
and
totally was.
it's not.
Especially once you get through that, um, and right before the wildlife excursion,
Yeah,
when she's like, "Oh my gosh, look!" and I thought, I was like, I was like, "What the fuck is she looking at?" Um,
and then there's giraffes.
but well, yeah, but I was thinking maybe there's a bunch of people. Maybe we're at the Fireflies. So I was like, all right, well, I guess this is the end of the game. But then there's fucking giraffes.
Yeah,
It's like, really?
they were
A
awesome.
giraffe? That was awesome.
It was
That was
awesome and
so cool.
unexpected and weird,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I thought it was perfect because Ellie had been all like in a funk right before that. Like right before that scene, he like has to ask her twice to come over and like help him with the ladder, and she's like, okay. She's kind of moping around and stuff, and then it's like she's all happy because there's uh she gets to see a giraffe for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's another part where you can really see that Joel's warming up, uh, uh, really warming up to her and like kind of changing as a character because he's like, we don't have to do this, and she's like, what? Yes, we do. And I mean, that's immediately what I thought. He was like, we don't have to, and I was like, yeah, what do you mean we don't have? Yeah, we do. We have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so then the monkeys freaked me out a little. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
first you so when you first get there, the monkeys are like playful and you're like, "Oh, I could probably go up to that monkey and it would like hug me and we'd be all right." And then
yeah. Well,
later we
when
learn,
well when you first see him, I couldn't see him. When she first like said, "Whoa, what is that?" I was like, "Oh God, what is it?" And then like made the horse move forward a little bit, and I was like, "What the fuck? Oh, monkeys." I'm glad we didn't have to fight monkeys.
yeah, that would have been pretty awful.
Yeah.
But then so then you go by the football field, I think at that point, and then he explains football if I'm remembering right.
I think you
And
might talk about it a little more right there.
yeah, he might talk about it a little more. And then you go, and then there's the puzzle with the thing where you got to push it down the ramp to get into the building.
Yep.
You go through that building, and you have more infected. That was another part that scared me when you have to go through that building with your mask on.
Yeah.
That was a rough part.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but then you find those audio recorders, and it talks about they're leaving.
yeah,
And then like he's like, "Oh, the son of a bitch bit me." And then you find out that the monkeys are infected, and it's like, "Oh God."
yeah. And then he dies, and you know
Yeah.
where they're going now. They're now in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, and then those douchebags show up, which you later find out are David's douchebags. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, then those guys show up, and then that was the other scene like I that really fucked me up. Like I like put the controller down. And I was like, "What? No, you can't. We can't do it. Yeah, what?
like
No."
when he got impaled.
Yeah, when you're fighting, and then you fall off, and it's like, "Oh no!" And then it's like, "Oh my God,
Well, when he
there is
first
a
landed, I thought he
rebar."
was fine. I
I
thought he was
Yeah, I did
fine
too.
for like
And
the
but then
first 2 seconds.
and then you just notice the big chunk of rebar sticking out of his gut, and it's like, "Oh my God,
It's like crap.
that's not a that's not a normal injury."
No.
I mean, I was like, "Is Joel gonna die?" And how are you? I mean, that part was scary because you can't really do anything. Like you're so fucked up. And Ellie steps up to the plate in a big way. Like
Yeah.
she just owns those dudes.
Mm-hmm.
That part was I really like that because it was so shocking, and then Ellie really, comes into her own a little bit in that and like really handles herself really well. Um but then Joel falls off the horse
Yeah.
and it goes to black again, and it's like you can't.
I
I don't like this.
yeah,
I
it's like
do not
I
like this.
words, feelings, emotions.
I was freaked out, dude. I
I
was
was too.
really, really freaked out. And then all of a sudden it just pops up and says winner. And it's like, you can't do this to me.
It's like
You can't jump
it's
20
like you
years and jump seasons all the time
it,
on me.
it's like you're toying with my emotions and I'm an unstable teenage girl right now. You don't want to do this to me or you'll face the consequences.
I know. And winner pops up. And it's like nothing, you don't see anything for a minute. And then you kill the bunny, which I wasn't a fan of because bunnies are cute. Um, but then, uh, but then you're Ellie with no
Yeah.
explanation.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, did Joel die?
Is Yeah, and I didn't notice, but someone pointed out that she's wearing Joel's jacket.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
she
I'm kind of
is.
glad I didn't, but
Yeah, that would have made me sad.
yeah, because I
I would
mean,
have been like, oh my God, that's
I was
sad.
really freaked out. I was like, is Joel gone? Is I mean, I was really confused and like really like on the verge of being really upset if Joel was dead.
Yeah.
Um, but then you come into that town, she's like, I need antibiotics or whatever.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, well, he must be alive.
Oh, yeah, and then it's like, okay, I can stop holding my breath now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
But
What did
that
you?
was one of the scariest parts in the game was playing as her, for
Yeah,
me at
because
least.
she's so
I mean,
little.
you had the majority of the same like skill set. Um, like you could do mainly the same things, but you just felt helpless
Yeah,
for some reason.
you didn't feel as strong. You didn't feel as
Yeah.
in control. And what did you think? For me, the true first test was when you didn't have any ammo, didn't have any guns. All you had was your bow and I think a pistol,
Hmm.
and you had to hold off the horde in that building with David.
No, you have the rifle
The
because David gives
rifle,
you the rifle.
the rifle. That's right.
That's when
And you have like
that's when you
almost
find out he has a gun.
yeah. And then you have
Uh
almost no ammo, and then all this. I died like I don't know a handful of times there
oh yeah,
just
yeah,
because
I
I
died a couple times there too,
because I
and I
just
was like,
couldn't.
I don't like this.
Yeah, and then you kill them all, and then you get the deer and the antibiotics, and
Yeah, but the entire time, like playing as Ellie in that scene, like, well, the entire time playing as Ellie, period, I was like really uncomfortable.
I was too. It
I
was
was
like
like, I do not.
I
This
can't
is weird.
I can't handle this world like this.
I know,
It
and I
was
don't know if it's just. I think like part of it is you don't have all the skills that Joel has. Like if you come up to someone and try to like melee him or whatever, it's not going to work very well.
uh-uh.
You really have to sneak up on people, but and you're in such a small frame, and it's
Yeah.
just like I feel like I need to just kind of like hide behind something.
Did you notice too the camera angle changed?
Did it?
You were always looking up at Ellie and down at Joel.
Oh, really?
Did you notice that?
I did not.
You were on Ellie, the camera was about armpit shoulder level, and at Joel it was always above his head.
Yeah. Huh.
Did you
No, I didn't notice that.
do you notice it now that I'm saying it? Do you remember kind of that being the way?
I mean, it must have been. That's probably.
That's because I noticed I didn't notice that the first time, but I noticed it when I reaccessed one of my saves. I'm like, wait a minute. The middle of my screen is at her armpit, and the
Yeah,
middle of my screen when I'm with him is like his eyes.
that's probably like one of the things that made it so uncomfortable and scary
Right,
is because
probably.
it made everything look bigger
Yeah, there was a
and
different
stuff.
camera angle. I'm
Yeah,
not remembering exactly where it was, but
yeah,
there you were looking up at Ellie and down with Joel,
yeah.
which was
That's really smart on their part. I did not notice that.
yeah,
I guess I was too like freaked out and nervous, but
yeah.
yeah. But what about the first time you see Joel? Or no, wait, no, wait. Uh, when when uh when David tells you that he's like, yeah, and I sent some guys out and some crazy guy killed him
Oh yeah, I was
with a
like,
little. I was like,
what?
oh my God,
He's
this
like
is
some
not
crazy
good.
guy killed him and a little girl, and like you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, like when he said that, I like out loud, I would have said, oh shit,
Yeah,
this is not good. Um, but he let you get away.
yeah.
But yeah, what about the first time you see Joel and he's all like
Helpless.
death? Yeah,
Yeah,
he literally looks like death.
I was like, that does not look good. He does not look like he's gonna make it.
Yeah,
This is not what I wanted. Can help.
yeah.
And
And
then, yeah,
running on the horse was terrifying.
yep.
And then they fucking shoot Callus.
What are you talking? Wait, what?
The horse. They shoot Callus.
Oh yeah,
That upset me. I was like, I knew it was gonna happen,
of
but I
course.
was still pissed.
I was mad too when they shot Callus, which is a perfect, great name for a horse.
Yeah, yeah, and I liked it because Joel hated it. That
Yeah,
was funny. Um,
and then the resort. So after you go through the cabin and the mill, and you deal with all of that because you face another bloater in the mill, but that to me didn't take very much because I Molotoved him twice and shot him like 4 times and then he died.
Yeah, I think I did too.
That wasn't.
That part, I screwed up like a bunch of times there
I
though.
screwed up a handful of times, but I got the hang of it pretty quick, and it didn't really seem like much. And you deal with the handful of zombies with a shotgun, and you shoot the rest of them with the pistol, and then the clickers with the shotgun, and then the bloater with the two things and the rifle shots, and you're good. So that didn't really. But then that's when David reveals he's like uh the dude and the
Master
girl.
douchebag.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh crap. And then
Yeah, because that's when you're in
the mill, right? Is
you're
it a mill?
locked up when you no, sorry. Yeah.
Locked up comes after the mill
Yeah, yeah.
because they come find you,
Yeah.
and then you run, and then that's when you get locked up.
Yeah.
And then you bite him in the
Yeah, and then
cutscene.
yeah, you realize like right when you wake up is that dude's chops something a person's arm off.
Yeah,
And it's like they're cannibals. Great.
yeah. Like I was like, are they killing people to eat them, or are they chopping them up so they don't become zombies? Because I was
Oh,
curious.
no. They're eating them.
Because see, it wasn't evident to me right away that they were eating these people.
Yeah. Well, that's immediately what I thought. And then later you can tell when
Yeah,
Joel gets in there. But yeah. Um yeah, I thought that was funny though, and uh she's like, Ellie, tell him Ellie's the name of the little girl that broke your fucking finger. It's like
yeah,
in your face.
yeah. She was awesome.
Yeah.
She was totally
Ellie's a
BA
badass.
in that scene. And then he gets ready to kill her, and she's like, "You can't kill me because I'm infected. I'm infected. Look at my arm." And he's like, "That don't look real. That's old." And she's like, "Yeah, because I'm immune." And blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. I kick you in the gonads.
Yeah, and then she runs out into this blizzard, and
Yeah.
I was immediately just terrified when
Yep.
you got outside and you couldn't see anything and there were people everywhere. Oh, I did not like that at all.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I was just like, I don't know, really, that was just really, really scary for me.
Yeah, because you didn't have any weapons on you.
Mm-mm.
You couldn't shoot because there are too many guys, and you didn't have enough ammo.
Yeah, and you finally get a gun and it's got like one fucking round in it.
Yeah.
And then you've got to kill guys to get more. But yeah, that was really, really scary. And you couldn't see anything. You didn't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was really scary. And then Joel wakes up.
Well, yeah. Well, then you get into the.
The bar.
Don't you get into the bar and then all this and like some shit goes down uh, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it switches to Joel.
Yeah, okay, so yeah. So what did you think of her fight with David?
Um, I
Or
was really conf.
does that come after you switch back?
Um, no, you're fighting with David and then it switches. The fight with the little like the like kind of boss battle type thing. After I figured out what was going on, that it was like a boss battle. Like at first I didn't realize what was going on. Uh, but I thought it was kind of cool how they did it with like the broken plates everywhere.
Yeah.
So you had to be stealthy because at first I walked over one and he was like, "Oh, there you are," and I was like, "Oh shit." Um, and then like after your second hit on him, he hides.
Mm-hmm.
And he won't move. So like until he moves, listen mode doesn't work.
Right.
So that was pretty sketchy. It was like, oh, where'd he go? Because you got to run after you hit him, and then all of a sudden he's not showing up, and it's like, oh, where did he go? And everything on fire. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought for a boss fight, it wasn't as infuriating as most boss fights are for me.
Yeah, it took me several tries to get it only because I kept stepping on plates and he kept being like, aha, and then shoot me in the face. Um, but I think I got it on like the fourth try. Like I got the first kill, the first stab, first try. The second stab I got first try, and then the third stab took me like four tries. And then I died during the quick action event once or twice
Oh yeah,
because I was just
I
like,
I died once because I didn't know I was supposed to move.
yeah,
I was like waiting for something to happen, and all of a sudden he killed me. I was like, oh, whoops.
yeah.
But yeah, there's the quick time thing happens, and then like right in the middle of it, it switches to Joel out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then you wake up as Joel, and you're
That
like,
screwed me
what?
up. I was like, what? No, no, whoa, whoa, cliffhanger. What? Yeah, and then you've got to go back into the uh. What's cool is Joel's all fucked up still. Like he's kind of like holding his side and stuff,
Yeah,
but
he's not
he
healed.
is pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, he is like yelling at these dudes and he's like freaking them out as they're running away from you,
Yeah, and you're
which is
shooting them as they're
awesome.
running away, which is cool.
Yeah, that was badass. Yeah, that part, like I felt like a badass, and I know, and it's like you knew what was happening to Ellie, so you were like, I've got to get there now. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, then you've got to go into the fucking snowstorm shit, and I didn't like it as Joel either.
No, I didn't. It wasn't easy, and there were a couple times where like there was a guy on top of something, and I missed him, and then he shot me in the back or in the side or something.
Yeah, I had a couple times where I screwed up a little bit, and where like I didn't see a guy, and I was looking the other way, and he got me. But yeah, it was just like, all right, I've got to find the building that's on fire, and yeah, you finally find it, and then it switches back to Ellie out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
She goes berserk.
yeah.
She goes straight up berserk, and that was another part where like my mouth was just hanging open. It was like, oh my God. Um, but did you catch what was going on?
Huh.
Like when Joel like grabs her and stuff?
Huh.
Did you catch what she says?
No, I didn't. What did she say?
She's like he tried. Like he was like like there was some like rapey intentions going
Oh,
on.
yeah. Yeah, I caught onto that. I'm like, he tried to do the dirty when she didn't
Yeah.
want to do the dirty.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a little strong for me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and like
yeah.
earlier one of the guys had said she's David's new little pet.
Yeah.
So it's like he's
I, di-
done
I
it before. It's like, oh my God.
yeah. Yeah. That's just
Yeah.
wrong.
That part was rough.
So, after all of that is dealt with. Oh, and then when Ellie is it Ellie? No. Never mind. That didn't happen. Uh, so then you go forward and it's spring.
Yeah, then it jumps forward, thankfully, and you're out of winter.
You're out of
Because
winter,
winter
which was
was
not
rough,
fun.
dude.
Yeah, it
Winter
was.
was
That was the
rough.
hardest part of the game for me,
Yeah.
emotionally, physically,
Yeah, because I mean
spiritually.
it starts on a bad note. I
It
mean it
starts
starts and you're
it
not sure if
starts,
Joel's
goes
dead
and
or not.
ends on a bad note. Like
Yeah.
just terrible.
Yeah.
And then spring. And then you
Yeah.
get greeted to spring and it's all happy, jolly, sort of, kind of, not really. And then this is actually, according to the walkthrough that I'm kind of following along with, this is when we find the camper and the family photo. So it's this point when you're at the
Oh, okay.
bus depot.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Like I said, I did not like that part.
Didn't like it.
uh
Um and then there was the tunnel. We talked about the tunnel already, I think. Um Several infected, the infloater, and then you get okay, what did you think about the whole game about Ellie not being able to swim?
Well, at first I was like, that's annoying.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Because if she has lived the majority of her 14 years in the Boston quarantine
Well,
zone,
she would have probably lived all of it.
yeah, I mean, probably, yeah, probably. Um, they probably don't have a pool, like a community pool where they're all hanging out and stuff. So, I
Well,
mean, it makes sense that they could, because Sam can't swim either.
right.
So it makes sense that, like, you don't have, there's, there's more important shit going on than learning how to swim.
Yeah, it was really weird for me because I've known how to swim since I was like before I can remember. Like, my mom had me taking lessons when I was like a year old or two
Yeah, I
years
remember that.
old.
Yeah. Yeah. Me
And
too.
I mean, I learned how to swim at a young age. I've always been able to swim, even though I'm completely out of shape. I can still handle myself in the water.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
It was
just
just
like there
weird.
was too much shit going on
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And her mom's dead. She didn't have a parent. It didn't seem
yeah,
like for the majority of her life. So there's no one really to teach her how to swim.
yeah,
That's got time because the chick that was looking over her was like the mother firefighter, whatever Joel called her at the beginning of the game.
yeah,
So it's like there's just too much shit going on. There's no time to make a kiddie pool for you.
yeah, and it's
Um,
like, and them not being able to swim, I think, distanced them from me in a time essence and in a relatability on that level. It was like it well, it didn't hinder my feelings for the character. It distanced them in time and space, if that makes any sense.
yeah,
Like
but yeah,
it
it
added
it
to the
was a lot
believability that it
like
was a post-apocalyptic world in the
yeah,
future.
it was a lot like her not knowing about the ice cream truck. It was
Yeah,
that same sort of thing.
yeah.
I wish there had been more variation on the wraps that you put her on instead of like the same palette
The same
7
exact palette.
times.
Yeah, like you use a palette once and then you use like a small dinghy or uh a
Yeah, just
door.
some. Yeah,
Throwback to Titanic.
yeah, something would have been. I would have liked to see that. I mean, it
And
wasn't a huge deal, but I would have liked to see something a little. I don't know, a little variation.
all the water except for the river was green. Did you notice that?
Yeah, the water was all kind of like stagnant, and just nasty looking.
Yeah, it was green except for the river. And that was just weird to me.
Yeah.
Because normally when I see water, it's either clear or it's blue. The only time I've ever seen it green was when I was in Tennessee and there was a pool that had a green painted bottom on it. And I thought that water was weird looking.
Why would you? Ew. Fucking Tennessee.
They painted it green. I don't know why. It made no
Tennessee is retarded.
sense. So, yeah. So then you go through the tunnel, and we talked about the tunnel and about the clickers and the cars and all of the bloater and how, yeah. Then you get to the lab.
Yeah, and you finally find it, and it's like, yes,
Yes, the game
we're
is over. We're
here.
here.
And then
Happy endings for all.
yeah, and then it's immediately like, no.
No.
Yeah, like I was like a little kid. I was like, no, we are not doing this. I do not like this.
Yeah.
Luckily, Joel was the same way.
Yeah. So they want to.
And that was another time where Joel is just a fucking badass.
Yeah.
When he grabs that guy and like shoots him right in the gut, and he's like,
y-
I don't have fucking time for this, and he shoots him again. It's like, dude, Joel, calm down a little bit, dude.
Yeah.
Just
Dude's just doing his
easy,
job.
easy.
And then he goes all Medal of Honor on him and kills a
Yeah,
bunch of dudes.
yeah.
I avoided most of the gunfights by sneaking around to the side and flanking them. And then some.
I just went guns blazing because I was like in that mindset of like, no, I do not want, no,
Well,
we are
I
no,
didn't really
we are
sneak, but
getting the
like I
fuck
walked
out of
around
here.
and I went to the side and then I started taking out dudes by flanking them. And then somehow in that last long hallway before the operating room, I ended up in the middle of the hallway with dudes all around me, and I was just chucking nades and bombs and
In that
Molotovs.
last hallway before you go up the stairs, where you go when you where you go in, you put the chair in the stairs
Uh huh.
or in the door or whatever. Um, I went through that hallway, uh, and I heard guys, so I stopped right in the middle of it, and three of them ran right past me. I was like,
That
oh
happened to
my
me
God.
too. That
It
happened to me
scared the
too.
crap out of me. They ran right past me, and I was like, oh, sweet. So I took off. And then some other jackass comes out of the door.
Yeah.
But
I
that
sh-
was actually good because I killed that guy, and then they just all like funneled through that. The three guys just funneled right through that doorway because they could
yeah.
only fit one at a time, and that was perfect. But when those three guys ran past me, it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. And then that last long hallway before you enter the operating room, I ended up in the middle of it, and I died like 4 times, and they just kept spawning me in the middle of the hallway, and I'm like, I don't know how to get out. So I just chucked one of those Molotov cocktails in each direction, and I got two triples,
Nice.
and uh, I went back to the door, and I put my back to the door that I knew you had to go through, and I just with my rifle and my pistols, I methodically just as they popped out, shot them and hid and then fed. I had a bunch of material saved up and I had full health kits, so I used all my health kits and then I made three more and then I just kept shooting.
Yeah.
and
I would just that
ended up,
entire time I just went guns blazing because I was pissed and I was gonna find her and I was gonna
yeah.
fix it.
I knew she was behind the door at that point, so I was just like, I just got to kill these guys and
Well,
keep out
yeah,
of here.
I hit listen mode and I saw her and I was like, "Oh, she's right there. She's right there. I'm almost there."
Yeah.
When you walked in, did you kill the doctors?
Uh,
There's
I
a doctor that pulls a knife on you and then there's two like nurses or whatever.
I killed the doctor, but not the nurses.
I blew them all away. Every single one of them. I was like, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. We're gone. We're leaving."
Yeah. So you
And
pick
then
it.
you've got to run with her.
Yeah,
And
and
like everything gets muted and there's like music. That was cool.
that was cool.
It was
Yeah.
really scary, but it was cool.
It was cool and scary and made my heart race and my pulse went up and my heart was pounding and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, we are walking out of here, you me against the world, girl. We're doing it.
Yeah.
And then comes the final death blow shocker to your heart, your brain, and your soul.
You open the door and fucking Marlene's bitch ass is standing right there
Yeah,
with a gun.
with a gun. You can't take her. She needs to be killed. We need to get the thing out of her brain and this
Yeah,
and that and
because
the other.
see, that's the thing. When the whole time that the whole time the game was going on,
Yes.
you would have thought that the player that I would have, or I don't know if you did, but that I would have realized it takes over your brain. She's immune. We're gonna find a cure using her. How are you gonna find out? How are you gonna do that? You gotta rip her brain out.
I thought the entire time it was in her blood.
I did too,
The
because I'm
entire game,
stupid.
I was
Yeah.
stupid and thought, whoa, well, they're going to draw a vial of her blood and it's going to be in her blood. And they're going to be like, oh, well, this is what we need. And
Yeah.
they're going
So
to be able to deal with it from her blood and she's going to make more and then it'll be happy and then all this, that, and the other. No, they have to dig into her brain.
yeah, and like when you get there and like she explains it, it's like, how did I not see that coming?
I I didn't feel like that. I felt like, well, that sucks because
Like when
I
she
didn't
said that, I was like, oh my God, that makes sense. What?
I
Oh,
didn't it didn't register for me. I guess I'm just dumb or something because I totally didn't get it until until she explained it to me after you've grabbed Ellie. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it because it affects your brain, and yeah, you're gonna have to die now.
so you start like having the conversation with her,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it just cuts to hands on a steering wheel.
yeah.
That freaked me out.
I was like, wait, what?
That and then it shows Joel, and I was like,
Oh,
what
did he
happened?
did he
What
leave her?
happened? Yeah, like I got goosebumps because I was freaked out. I was like, is, and then she makes like a little noise, and it's like, oh my God.
And then she asks what happened,
Yeah, and it's
and
like
you tell her, sort of,
kind of.
kind of. You had a
Um,
discussion with her, and you guys are in the car now because she's safe.
yeah. Um, but then like when you're walking through the woods back to the dam, back to Tommy's, uh, Joel's like all kinds of like small talk and stuff, and it's like he's like the polar opposite of where he started.
Yeah,
I thought was really cool.
and then you see what he actually did,
Yeah.
and
And you're
then
like, and I was like, fuck yeah.
I was like, touchdown, Jesus,
Yeah.
through the goalposts of life.
Yeah.
And then the sort of twist happens
Yeah.
when he
Because
lies to her.
it wasn't like the majority of games like that where the person sacrifices himself.
Right. It's
Like
like
the
he's
person
like,
always sacrifices themselves. It's never like, nope, no, I don't think so. I'm not gonna do that.
he lies to her, and I'm like, during now that I've had some time to you and I have been talking now for almost 2 hours,
I know.
uh, about this, and now that I've like thought about it, it's like that would have they couldn't have ended the game any better.
I know. I know. When it happened and then the credits started to roll, I was just sitting there
I was
like
just like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, like what?
What just
Wow.
happened?
Yeah.
I
It
was
was
like,
just like
I was
wow.
like, that was amazing. And actually, I recorded moments after the credits were finished my reactions, and in that other video,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah, and
like,
they were like very similar to mine, and I'm sure other people that have finished the game and got to that part, and there's just like, whew, wow, wow, yeah, it was, and it's weird because it's not like games are it's almost always a sad ending or a happy ending, you
yeah,
know?
there's no like
There's
bittersweet,
normally not any, yeah,
because
and that's
I wouldn't
exactly what it was
I wouldn't consider it
because
on a scale of
it
one to
was like
100, with one being the saddest ending possible and 100 being the happiest ending possible. I feel like it falls around like a 55 or a 60.
yeah, it's like right in the middle because it's what because of because I'm selfish. It's what I wanted to happen. Like
Yeah,
I didn't want Ellie to die.
right.
But you but it's a big but. That's what she would have wanted.
Yeah.
But it's
She would have
not what
gladly given
Joel.
up her
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
to save everyone.
Yeah. But it's like, no, I like you. That's not happening. You're my favorite.
Yeah.
And I thought that was perfect.
And then he says, "Well, they couldn't." What does he say to her? Something to the effect of
He
like,
says like there's a bunch more people like you and they're not even looking for it a cure anymore or something.
"Yeah."
Something along those lines.
And then they go to Jackson, which is apparently where Tommy is.
Yeah, they're overlooking like
Tommy's city or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so they go there at the end.
Yeah, but man, I thought that was perfect.
It
Like
was it
when it happened, I was like, I don't know. Huh.
when it was
It
like,
was one of those where you
yeah,
had to like think about it. It's like, am I happy? Am I sad?
am I
I don't
happy? Am I
know.
sad?
Yeah.
I was definitely mellow.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't calm, but I was like, okay, this just happened to me. Like I was in shock. Shock is probably the best word to use.
Yeah.
I was in
Probably.
shock. I was like, I can't believe what I just saw, what I just heard. This game was awesome. Holy crap. My life is different now. Those were all, and I cried at the end.
Really.
Yeah. I was like, this game has probably been the most emotional game for me that I've played.
I want to say that it's like the most emotional like entertainment experience that
I
I've
would
had.
put it up. I would put it in the top three for sure. Entertainment experience.
I'm
I would
having
put
a
it right
hard
up there
time.
with Forrest Gump and For Love of the Game, which are my two favorite movies.
Yeah, like I'm having a hard time thinking of something that like was that big of a range of emotions,
Yeah,
big emotions.
I would put it
Like
on par as like a live Springsteen concert for me. I know you're not a
the
fan, but
only thing that I mean, maybe like the Redwall books when I was younger, like they have like some of the same kind of like heartache and happiness type stuff and like stuff like that. But I mean, I'm having a hard time finding like anything really that like a
yeah,
movie or a book or something like that that I've had that kind of experience with.
it's just been up. It was up and down, and it was never any point on the emotional scale for very long. You were
Yeah.
constantly going up
Yeah.
and down, 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 up, down, up and down constantly, and you weren't ever in the same place for very long.
It's like the one time you can use the phrase emotional roller coaster
And it be
and not have
completely
someone
correct.
like roll their eyes at you.
Yes.
Yeah. Badass game.
Badass.
I'm gonna yeah, I see many more playthroughs
Yeah, I'll probably
happening
pick the
from there.
game up again probably in February. I venture I'll pick it up
It's
probably
gonna be
again.
hard to follow it, you know? Trying to play something else now, trying to play another single player, it's gonna be like, well, that was good, but it's no The Last of Us.
Yeah, yeah. It's I think I'll be disappointed from until the next Naughty Dog,
Yeah.
probably, because
Yeah.
to me they're the better story writers that I've played. But man,
Yeah, I really like their stuff. I'm a Naughty Dog fanboy, not afraid to say it.
yeah,
So, all right. Good talk.
good talk. I feel better. I mean, I'm an emotional wreck right now, but
Yeah, I feel much better because like after I finished the game, which
when did
was
you
like
finish the game?
I think it was like a day or when was it? It might have been Monday
So
because I'm
you
off
texted me
Mondays.
yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Monday then because like at work on Tuesday, uh people were like, so did you have a good weekend? And it was like, I just want to talk about The Last of Us. That's all I want to talk about. And
Yeah,
none of you fucks know what it is.
yeah, and then
I
you
was like,
texted
yeah,
me
I
last
finished the
night.
video game. They're like, oh, cool. That's cool. It's like, you want to talk about it? No, I can tell you about it. But yeah, then I was like, I've got to talk to somebody about it. So on the way home, I was like, I just want to talk about my feelings.
Yeah, and you're like, so I just finished The Last of Us, and I want to talk about feelings. Let me pull up the actual text you sent me. None of my IRL friends have played Last of Us, and I'm over here just like, I would just want to talk about feelings in all caps. Oh, yeah, I'm glad that you texted me because I've been wanting to talk about this game in depth with someone for a while, and I don't know anybody here that plays video games. Like I try to talk about it at work with my one coworker, and she's just like, "Oh, video games, turn off the sound, don't listen."
Yeah, so I work at a we work on big rigs. We work on big 18 wheelers, and like there's two guys there that are in my age range, and like none of them have, they don't even know what Naughty Dog is at all. And it's like I don't have anyone to talk about this crap with.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, did you see the NASCAR race? No, I didn't. I was crying about a fake character.
Yeah,
Shut up. Leave me alone.
you're toying with my emotions.
Yeah.
Wow, I just
Good game.
yeah,
Well done, Naughty Dog. Well
well
done.
done, sir.
If it's not game of the year, I don't.
If that's not game of the year, then someone needs to be shot.
Yeah, if it's not game of the year. I'm like gonna hang myself probably.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about because I had talked to you about maybe Watch Dogs for Game of the Year too, and it's not going to compare. There's no way.
It's way too early to
Yeah,
even say because I mean it's not out. So I mean that could be that Watch Dogs could be the next Homefront. You never know.
yeah, it could be. Oh boy, I love that video when you sent that to me. That video was hilarious. I still watch that from time to time.
Yeah.
All
Uh,
right, well, thanks for chatting and hanging out, and we need to do this again at the next awesome game.
all right, buddy.
All right, well, you have a good night, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
Bye.
Yeah.